When I came here, I thought that I would have it 100% for myself. But there are people everywhere. And ferries. Well, if we go this way, I don't think there are as many people who come with the intention to disturb us. Because I wanted to make another video. And that ferry is very distracting. There are two. They're sailing with two ferries at this time. That's like insane amount of ferries. I mean, yeah, I get it. We're in the middle of the tourist season. But still. Well, it kind of says what I want to talk about in this video. What in the world is that? That looks like a goose. Is that a goose? I've seen like eagles here. I've never seen goose here. There's no way that's a goose. Oh, and there's also... Wow, there are so many people. Well, the thing we're going to talk about today is tourism. And I think you've just... That is 100% a goose, that. I think I will just... Or is it? I really can't tell. What is that bird? Never mind. It still looks like a goose, but slightly less than before. Oh, and now the other ferry is sailing too. Well, to get to the point, there are stark differences around, based on whether it's summer or winter, off-season and in-season. This place is of course no exception, but I thought about it when I was in Amsterdam here a couple of weeks ago. And I noticed in the centre, where all the canals are, there are people everywhere. And in the actual centre, there are people everywhere. But the second you go out to like even the inner suburbs, there are no one besides the people who live there. Like I stayed like a little outside the city centre, and it was amazing. And I noticed very quickly that everyone around me was Dutch. There was not a single person who even looked like they came from outside the Netherlands. Which was so interesting, because there were almost nothing but tourists along the canals. Like there were people everywhere, and none of them seemed to be Dutch. Which was so interesting. There were a bunch of people from Britain or from Germany or from even like Sweden or something, and Australia and Canada and the United States, but no one really seemed like they were Dutch and actually lived in the area. Which I know it was in the middle of the summer, but still, I'm here, where I live, and it's the middle of the summer, and I'm here, and I'm a local. And then when I came home, I realised it's not only the Amsterdam people who live in a touristy place. Did that ferry wait for the other ferry to come? There's like another ferry over there. That ferry's just waiting there. Well, they do whatever they want to do. But you know, I feel like also here that the majority of other people, oh god, that's like a person with his dog. On a bicycle, well, I didn't even know you could ride a bicycle out here. Of course they're from Germany. Hey. They were not from Germany, right? They sounded so American. I swear, German people can't sound so American. I just thought I heard German at first. Anyway, the important thing there was they were not local. It was very clear that they don't live here. And, you know, that's fine. But I think it's interesting that, you know, about 1.7 million passengers take the ferry over here every year. And, you know, a substantial part of that is, of course, benders like me, who literally use the ferry like 500 times a year. But also a pretty substantial number is tourists who stay out in the summer house areas. And most of them are German. Some of them are from just over in the city there. Some of them are from other parts of Denmark. The point is that they are other people here in the summer. And, you know, at the peak of summer, we have maybe like 17,000 people on the island at once. You know, around that. I think, you know, if we say that's 3,500 year-round inhabitants, and I think it's like 10,000. Well, that's only 13,000, but still, I think it's like 7,000 summer houses that are here. I can't quite remember the actual number, but it's a lot of people compared to what we're used to. Actually, our like supermarket is the highest earning supermarket in the entirety of this part of Denmark, because of all the tourists. So that's something interesting. Another interesting thing is that in the winter we're only the usual 3500. The main town that is over there, that we just walked away from, is about 2800 if I remember correctly, and the southernmost village, which is 12 kilometers the other way, is something like 300, I think, 200, 300, and there's the rest is scattered throughout the island. And that's the population in the winter. In the summer, with a bunch of tourists and a bunch of one-day visitors also, mind you. Can I get through here? I don't really know if I actually can. I get through over there. Well, that's much less dense. Should we try? Yeah, why not? The thing is that it gets much more crowded here in the summer than in the winter. In the winter, you can do whatever you want. There is no one there to see it. In this summer, I mean, it's relatively easy to find relatively unpopulated areas where you don't really see many people. I mean, the town is literally over there, and we're already in the middle of nowhere, out with the World War II bunkers. But I'm disappointed that we seemingly can't walk along the shore, the beach down there. But there's literally no one here actually right now. Oh, that's so cool! I've never noticed that. Look at that! It's literally my first time out here, so I don't know what I'm walking to. Oh, there's a bunch of people over there also. Well, but Amsterdam is something else. Copenhagen is also something else. I don't really have that, relationship with Copenhagen, because seemingly, I know someone who lives in Copenhagen that we switch houses because they really want to be here, because it's literally one of the top rated summer house destinations in like Northern Europe or something. I think it's interesting that the beach is so small here compared to like on the other side of the island. If we go over there, that's like a kilometer of just sand beach, whereas here it's like what, 10 meters max, 6 maybe. I think it's actually a pretty beautiful area that we are walking in for once. You can actually see stuff. You can see like the, I can't remember what it's called, but it's blooming after all. We can see the ferry my god, that looks like it's so fast, and it looks like it's going to collide with that little boat there. I mean, they're not, but it looks like that. That's the interesting thing with water. It's difficult to tell if something is behind or ahead of, no, in front of another object. And now it's starting to get windy, I think. We of course have to do this. Even though it's a smaller path, it's along the sea. It's beautiful to go along the sea. Something. Well, you can look at the city over there. The thing is, I also noticed that in Reykjavik, I was also there in the summer. Had the same as Amsterdam and Copenhagen. Might have trouble getting further. Well, I noticed that because I also stayed a little outside Reykjavik and the suburbs, and there were nothing but Icelanders there. I will have to say though, the Dutch people and the Danish people for that matter, but especially the Dutch people, go outside. The people from Reykjavik don't really do that very much. It's mostly get out in your car, drive somewhere, then go outside, which is understandable. If we're lucky, they're having a great time in that. It's like a bunch of bees. I don't know if you can hear it. We will try this path. Might be a bad idea. We'll try anyway. Oh my god, that was a fly right by my ear. Well, it looks a little improvised, to be honest. It will hopefully do. The good thing is that isn't really any dangerous animals as far as I'm aware. Yeah? So we should be fine. It's like a wild expedition. Welk. Look at the cows there. Look at how peaceful they are. When I was there last time, they were like in the other direction. I will say though, I don't really think we should continue. We can go out to the edge and see if it's worth it. Also because that's literally insects. Like, there's not a lot of them, but there's enough that they regularly fly right by my ear, which gives me a heart attack every time. Oh, there's a nice sand beach. And what in the world is that? Is that another goose? Surely it's not a goose. Oh, and there goes the farm. There goes the farm. Anyway, look at all the cows. Look at how cute they are. Just peacefully eating grass. Now we're at the sea. Yoo-hoo! It's like the first time. is a bit unclean here, as you probably can tell, because it's literally one of the biggest industrial harbors right over there. I think it's like the third biggest in Denmark. So there are a lot of ships, and there are a lot of not so clean ships that sail through. And then there's the ferry. Apparently it runs on like biodiesel, which have saved it from 90% CO2 emissions or something. Please don't take that from me. The thing is, I know it's maybe sounds a bit silly going around out here. There's really empty here in the winter. There's really packed in the summer. Like, you have to go to places like this to find absolute peace. Like, who would ever walk out here? The sea, the harbour, and a fence is what you have to look at. No one wants that. That's why there are no people here. Oh yeah, there's like bird nests, because we're in a national park. So I don't really know. I think we are allowed to continue. I think there are like signs saying you should stop, but we should definitely avoid the bushes. Just walk along the sand beach. The thing is, the beach is a little loud, but we will live with that. This has just been the worst video of all time. I've not even gotten to... I've been so distracted by everything around me. What is that bird? I was just about to say it was I don't know. I'm not good with birds. Anyway, we are in a national park. We are at the one of the tourist hotspots in Denmark, outside Copenhagen. Because if you count Copenhagen with everything, it is everything else gets completely demolished into the ground. So we don't really count that. I will say though, I think I will have substantially more life than a city over there. Like, it might look big, but it's literally because every house is flat. There isn't really any high houses, or, you know, middle houses, I guess you could call it also. So there's only like 60,000 people, and they all live out in the suburbs. So the centre honestly feel empty. The majority of people I meet when cycling around in there is people who are going down to the ferry to get over here, which is so sad in a way. The rest is just out in the suburbs in a single family house. We don't really have that here because we are so small, but yeah, I wouldn't want to live over there. So yeah. But the thing that attracts the most tourists is actually not that city over there. No one that stays here, everyone that stays here is recommended to go to the mainland, but no one is stopping over there. They're going down to a historic town down south, which is literally the oldest town in the country. So, yeah. The only reason that city exists is actually because of the Schleswig Wars that Denmark lost, and the harbour was constructed because Denmark lost its harbour down at Husum. So yeah. Well, this island is flourishing because of it, so I guess it's good for something. Oh my... Where did all those waves come from? They're like kind of big. Well, to wrap all things up, this island is packed with tourists in the summer. It's completely empty in the winter. That city over there there are people that live there, but all the public spaces are very, very sparsely. It doesn't feel like a big city. If you go to like a bunch of smaller cities out on the east coast of Jutland instead, it feels much, they feel much bigger than this. This really feels like a constructed city. And it don't really have an identity. The main reason people live there is because of the low housing prices, and still relatively good opportunities. Like they have universities, and they have academies and all sorts of things. But they only have it because they are the 5th biggest city in Denmark, and they have to have something. They don't have tourists, and they don't really have big tourist attractions. There's a fish museum out there, which accounts for the vast majority of tourists. But other than that, really, there are very few. It's just me, or is this part, completely flat? It feels weird to walk around out here. Doesn't feel like a thing you should. It's kind of sad in a way, actually, especially with that bunker just there. Just industry that way. World War II bunker on grass that way. This is probably one of the most dangerous areas on the island, actually, because when there comes lightning, this is just completely flat. And a couple of years ago, there was like one walking around here when it was cloudy, and it started getting lightning started hitting, and it hit him and he died, and was not found for like a week or something. So yeah. Anyway, this was my very, very bad and distracting analysis of tourism. There aren't really tourists here, but they are in Amsterdam, and they are in Copenhagen, and they are in the town centre of here. Oh, and also the summer house areas are packed to the brim right now. So yeah, that's basically it.